Today, during her first floor speech as a sworn-in member of the House of Representatives, Congresswoman Adalisa Grijalva took the time to recognize two survivors of Jeffrey Epstein sitting in the gallery. Liz Stein and Jessica Michaels were met with a big round of applause, well-deserved. With me still is Arizona Democratic Congresswoman Adalisa Grijalva, sworn in less than 24 hours ago. I hope the name sounds good to you, as well as Jess Michaels, one of the Epstein survivors who was present in the House gallery and mentioned during Congresswoman Grijalva's first floor speech and has been working tirelessly to help educate the public. I'm so grateful you're here. Thank you so much for staying with me. Okay. Let me start with you, Jess. There was just a lot happened today. You were on the House floor when this Congresswoman was sworn in. There was a huge trove of emails released. There was the 218th vote. Tell me about how you're digesting all of today.
I'm not really digesting at all, actually. I mean, that's part of the, the stress of it all, the excitement of it all, the even small needle move towards justice and being heard and being acknowledged that this should not be delayed anymore. We should be pushing through releasing the files. So it was very emotional. It is a moment in time that will last for me, for my lifetime, watching her sign that dispatch petition.
And let me ask you, what was it like having Jess there in the room?
She represents so much strength. I mean, think about having to tell a story of one of the most difficult periods of your life over and over and over again. So people actually hear you, to put a face with the story. It's not just a story. It's like a life that has been forever impacted by somebody who chose to abuse children and women. And so her strength to just stand up. And I was so glad that they both got a standing ovation, because it was that powerful that it's like, and here they are. And I just think it's so important for people to be able to put a face to, like, this is not just a random story. This is a real person who's been impacted forever.
And it's really what it is all about. And I can't underscore how hard it is to do what you do and to be out there as you are. It's incredibly courageous. Let me ask you just about, I don't even know what you've had time to consume today. There have been a huge trove of emails today that have been released. I don't know what you've consumed. If anything surprises you that you've seen out there reported about Trump being at the House, about there are a range of things. Anything you've seen that surprised you today?
Nothing surprised me. And I do believe the most important thing that all of us as survivors are really trying to get across is that it is so much bigger than Donald Trump. And we hope that everyone keeps their eye on that, as opposed to just narrowing it down to one person, because that's where we've failed in the past. It was just Ghislaine Maxwell, it was just Jeffrey Epstein, and that's where we lost so much time and where we lost so much justice. So it is bigger than Donald Trump. So the surprises, I think, are still going to come.
This is Congressman Garcia raised this exact same point about just the number of predators who are being covered up right now because of all of this. Let me ask you about just, there was a huge effort to prevent more information from coming out from the White House, from Kash Patel, from the Attorney General, and they kept using this phrasing, credibility, like credible information, only credible information will be put out. It sounds good. It feels to me like a whole lot of gaslighting. What did you make of it?
I thought it was interesting to use the word credible when we have 3 terabytes of information and decades of an investigation, and yet if there was nothing credible, we wouldn't have those things. There was nothing credible to follow. There were no leads. If there was nothing egregious happening, there would have been no investigation. There wouldn't be all of this information that's now being dropped off in tens of thousands of emails, and we haven't even seen a fraction of it. So I think it's a moot point.
They also used that term before today, and we saw everything that was released today, which seems quite credible.
Exactly.
One of the things that we were just talking about this, about how there's some Republicans who came out today and said they would support the discharge petition who hadn't previously done. Don Bacon is one of them, Kevin Kiley maybe. How important do you think it is for a big number, any Republican who supports the idea of transparency in this case, to vote vote for it next week, sending a message that it's not just 220, but a much bigger number than that.
Well, also that you're not going to support pedophiles.
Yeah.
You're not going to protect pedophiles. You're not going to protect people who continue to assault, victimize, harm girls and women, children. I mean, you're just not. That should be a nonpartisan issue. I mean, the fact that we're sitting around saying Democrats are pushing for this, it shouldn't be Democrats. All of us should be just, I mean, beyond appalled that anyone would stand in the way of finding out who's responsible and making sure they have justice.
And all of the people who are responsible, and I think this is a key part.
Yeah.
Go ahead, what were you going to just say?
No, you are either protecting pedophiles or children and victims. There's no gray line. It's only one or the other, and you can't ride the gray line. It doesn't exist.
That's such an important way to define it. There's so many different things happening right now at once to just pay attention to. Congressman Garcia said that there are more files that the estate has that they're working to get a hold of. We'll see when those are released. If they are released, what is in there. There's obviously the discharge petition. There are efforts to subpoena other people who may have more information. You mentioned making sure that people are focused on all of the predators out there. Are there other things you want members of Congress, advocates, people are talking about this, to be clear about what is necessary at this point?
Yes, we need to send a message to representatives, all of Congress. We need everyone on phones, on emails, and to not stop. You mentioned something earlier about, more people potentially coming on to the dispatch petition or to the vote. But what we're seeing is that one person stands up. And then more follow. Yeah. And then it turns into this beautiful contagion. And now you're seeing my face, but really I'm representing thousands of survivors. Liz Stein and I were standing there in that house, but we knew it was not just us alone. And so I think there has to be a clearer message to the people that are stopping this from moving forward, that it matters to the American people. And that is a nonpartisan issue. It should matter to every American, and it doesn't matter who is in that list, who is in those files. Justice and accountability are what is most important.
That is a perfect message. It is not political. It
not
is about
political.
Justice and accountability.
At
People
all.
like you who are representing thousands of courageous survivors out there. That's what it's about. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for being here and being so generous with your time on a big day in your life. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.